Hi, my friends. My name is Marissa. Welcome to my tarot and divination channel. I am super excited to be sharing space with you guys today. These readings are all about what you can expect for the month of June, okay? And I'm guided to do these a bit differently every time. And so this month, we are going to be diving into the overall theme for you guys for the month, as well as what will be your biggest challenge. Like the shadowy aspects that might be more challenging for you to meet, as well as the light aspects, or in other words, the areas that you are displaying a good degree of mastery in, okay? So happy to have you guys here with me. We have 6 piles to choose from. You might be guided to more than one. If that's the case, go ahead and honor that as always. And whenever you guys are feeling ready, we're gonna hop right into these readings. Hey, group number 1, if you guys chose this sunstone and sapphire crystals, this is your reading for June energetics and overview of the main theme, and we're also going to dive into the light and shadow aspects of your explorations within this month, okay? So I'm going to start with the overall theme. The sign that is very repetitive and that stands out the most here throughout this entire reading is Libra, okay? So there's a lot here about justice. There's a lot here about wanting to do the right thing for the most amount of people. There is a lot here about leadership and like sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge with other people. And I feel like those people that drew this pile are for sure on a path of like teaching and extending their natural gifts and talents and tapping into just knowledge that feels, I feel like there's just a very authentic way that you guys are able to deliver whatever it is that you have to share. And it doesn't sound regurgitated. It doesn't seem like, you know, the same shit we hear every other day on, you know, social media. I feel like whatever it is that you have to give is very unique and authentic to yourself. And I feel like for the most part, people really trust you and people look up to you. You're a guide for many people, okay? And I feel like the month of June, this is something that you're really embodying to the next level, and you're really feeling that to a deeper degree, right? These are things that I feel like, you know, to me, this tells me that this is something you guys have probably been doing for a while, or at the very least, like the month of June, it just surprises you how easy this kind of role feels to you, all right? And one of the reasons is because this is not your first time doing this. This is not your first time being in a teaching position and having a lot of people look up to you and just people seeking you for advice and to just feel, seeking advice from you and to feel better and, you know, seeking out your opinion and your wisdom in terms of how to navigate their own life, okay? So yeah, it talks about being the stone of wisdom, and there's a sense of regality here, and you know, sunstone, it talks about bringing out the natural talents, okay, and allowing you to shine like the star that you are. So there's a lot here about being in the spotlight, okay, which might make you a little bit uncomfortable over here with in the shadowy aspect, and what might be a little bit challenging for you is just stepping into and just like feeling like, I feel like on one hand, there's a deeper part of you guys that knows this is part of your blueprint, and on another hand, it just might be a little bit uncomfortable just in terms of like the degree and the amount of attention that you guys will likely be getting the month of June, okay? So yeah, the overall theme, I feel like very much so in the spotlight, feeling very good, okay? Very like with the Saturn and Moon energy, I feel like you guys are also very aware of your pitfalls and your shadows. Like those are, I feel like your advantage in this month is because of that, right? It's not to say that we don't have, like we're all gonna have shadows, right, to navigate all the time. But I feel like with you guys, there's already such a sense of awareness around it that it's not like an overwhelming energy in this month for you guys, if that makes sense. Like I feel like you guys are very aware of what you have to work on in this lifetime, and what comes up for you in the month of June is not going to seem like a big surprise. I feel like it's something that you've been working on for some time and that you've been very aware, because you do have the Sun card coming up in the aspect of like the shadow for this month. So that tells me that there's already a sense of illumination around this, and this is not a karmic knot that is super deep, okay? This is something that you have been aware of and that you've been working at, and I feel like a big part of that is just imposter syndrome in terms of feeling like good enough and like worthy. again, it's that weird dichotomy, and this is what kind of is my indication that there's just some like remnant cords of karma that are just running themselves out. Is a deeper part of you knows that this is what you're here for, right? Like our greatest gifts are generally entangled with our deepest fears. And so for you guys, I feel like part of your shadow is a fear of this success and a fear of the responsibility with this Saturn and Moon energy coming through. There's like a fear of the amount of responsibility that you're going to have as things progress, because, you know, June is just kind of like really bringing up to the surface and just like bringing you more proof, I guess, bringing you more proof. And God, what's the word? I just feel like you're seeing even more like, oh my God, like I'm just getting the sense of like, oh my God, this is happening, you know, for pile number 1, which is pretty cool. But I feel like something else that is happening for you guys in the month of June is that like something that had potential, or there's something that feels like it was just barely getting started, all right, that is going to be ending, and it feels like it didn't really have time to really take off the ground, or at least that might just be your interpretation of like, oh my God, like this just got started. It could be a relationship, okay, because I am seeing some cups energy here. It could be a business venture as well, but I feel like it's something that kind of felt like it didn't have a long lifeline, or it was just getting started. And I feel like part of the shadowy aspect is just, you're just learning, navigating the difference between like, okay, was I maybe just a little bored, or just like, was this meant to be something, or was there just like a little lesson in here that I was meant to like integrate from this? But I feel like the reason why it might be a challenge for you is because it did hold some promise in terms of like, oh, I could really see this working in my life, and I can really see this enhancing my life in this way. Right, it seems like it had a lot of potential for what it had to offer, but it ends up like kind of fizzling out, or just like practical, like the practicality behind it doesn't support its longevity or something. And there is something here about maybe it might come back, loop back around at some point, but Spirit is just really emphasizing like to not get lost in whatever that is for you, whether it be a relationship or a business venture, or just like maybe you're starting to collaborate with other people or something, and just like there's a lot of ideas going around, I feel. Okay, with all of this leadership energy coming through, I feel like there's a lot of, oh my gosh, we could do this, and oh my gosh, we could go this way with this thing. And so, you know, this just comes along with the territory, right? It's like, you didn't fail. It's not a failure. These are just like, it's good to like speak about these things and explore these things and talk about different things. And, you know, and I feel like it is making space for something even more relevant for you. So moving on to the area you're showing a lot of mastery in, there's a lot of networking I'm seeing here, okay? There's a lot of meeting other people that are like on your same level. There's a lot of really great communication. There's a lot of exploring like potential timelines with other people. There might even be the opportunity to travel. I'm just feeling very fun, okay? It's feeling very alive in the month of June and very grounded. I feel like too, the area that you're showing mastery is kind of like really what the overall theme is for this month. It's showing mastery in terms of like, I feel like what it is that you communicate to the world and what you bestow to the world really helps people come to terms with what they're here for and their life's purpose and their blueprint, and whatever unique way that you do that. I feel like it is pretty unique because I am seeing some, you know, Aquarian energy coming through here for sure that is being emphasized. And yeah, and you know, with all this Leo energy that's coming through too, it's very like it's very different. You know, Leo, I feel like Leo kind of gets a bad rep because like it can seem like the sign of like being the attention whore. Okay, forgive my French, but you know, whatever. I'm gonna say how it comes through, but I feel like sometimes it gets a bad rep. But one of the reasons why I feel like Leo's, or that energy can gain so much attention, is because it's unafraid to stand out in whatever way. So that also kind of reminds me of that like Aquarian energy, or that like being a revolutionist, or being someone that has a vision that maybe not a lot of people are able to tune into, because I feel like whatever your soul stream is, however you're able to tune in, and like, again, building off that notion that was coming through earlier about you guys having a very unique connection to wisdom, right? It doesn't sound regurgitated. Okay, it's because you're tuning into something that's very authentic to you. All right, and so in whatever way that you do that also helps people embrace their own uniqueness, their own authenticity, and people trust you a lot because of it, okay? So like, you're really showing mastery the month of the month of June in terms of being a leader, in terms of being a teacher. And there's a lot of people I feel like that are coming to you for advice, that are asking you for questions. And I'm kind of getting that energy of like, oh my God, this is really happening. Okay. And I feel like in the past, maybe it just felt like you were just getting little driplets or droplets of, just like the proof or the evidence that you're on this highest timeline. And like June really feels good. It really feels like you're not only feeling proud that you saw the vision, all right, and then you went after it with whatever you had available to do it, but I feel like it's here, right? I feel like you're seeing and feeling that you're really in alignment with this highest aspect, and with, this essentially probably something that is going to get you well known for, right? This is like, I really am feeling this sense that you guys are going to be known, or are already known by a good, decent amount of people, and it's only going to get bigger and better from here. But the emphasis again is on doing the right thing and having that sense of like integrity, right? And doing things maybe not necessarily for those reasons, but I feel like it just kind of goes with the territory of tuning into something that's unique to you and that feels right. And that is, there's a purity of integrity behind why you're doing it, because you just want to give back to the world, right? You want to make the world a better place. And I feel like, you're starting to see, as long as you have that to your core, as long as it's like, okay, I'm doing this for the right reasons, and I'm doing this, like, I'm extending to other people what helps me live a life of freedom and fun and love and joy. And I just share about what feels good in my own unique way, and in the areas that just seem the most obvious at this time. Again, for some people, it could be breath work. For some people, it could be a yoga instructor, For others, it could be tarot. There's so many different ways that we can kind of extend our teachings and our wisdom. And it doesn't have to just fit in one box or one area, but you're really seeing that as long as my heart's in the right place and I'm consistent, that things pay off, right? And it's like that balance of like logic, wisdom with just your heart, and following that kind of fool's energy of just believing anything is possible and living on the edge of things. But June, I feel like, is very prosperous for you. It's very grounded, and it's also very electric, okay? And you're receiving a lot of, I just feel like you're feeling very praised and very appreciated. And it doesn't feel like it's very like getting to your head. It almost feels like a long time coming for my pile number ones. And I'm proud of you, and I feel like you deserve to be proud of yourself too. And this is truly only the beginning for you guys. I'm really saying that, all right? So I hope this brought clarity, confirmation, and peace to your heart today. If it did, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment anything down below. Maybe leave a sun emoji in the comment section if you chose pile number one, and to connect with your other soul family that chose pile number one as well. And I do hope I see you again on my channel soon. Much love. Hey, group number two, if you chose this citrine and this morganite crystal, or these crystals, this is your reading for June energies, what you can expect, okay? So I'm already seeing a lot of like many of the same cards carrying over from pile number one. So if you were drawn to pile number one, I would most certainly go ahead and check that one out as well, because these are very, very similar energies for sure. The last pile, Libra, was the sign that kind of stood out the most, okay? And that is the same case here as well. Okay, so overall, your theme of June, I feel like you guys are feeling very empowered. Okay, you're feeling very confident in your connection to spirit. You're feeling good in how you make decisions, and there's a lot of emphasis here about like doing the right thing for the most amount of people and being in a place of integrity. Okay, you guys are sitting in a place of integrity with whatever it is that you create and put out into the world. It's also interesting that we have a lot of like the same cards carrying over to this side. Okay, so you have the High Priestess in the same position, you have the Magician coming up twice, and then we have a lot here about community building as well, just like the different levels of community. Like not only a place where people can gather and feel good and feel like those tangible aspects of a community, but you also have like those spiritual and emotional aspects as well, right? Just because we're around a lot of people a lot of the time doesn't mean that our cups are being filled, or that we feel like we're sharing a level of depth that makes the human experience feel very fulfilling, okay? And that is actually something showing up as your strength, is that you create spaces, whether it's online or in person, where people feel like they have somewhere to belong, and they feel seen by you, they feel accepted in your presence. There's a lot here, right, of the overall theme being about being like very aware of your karmic propensities, okay, with the world and justice and strength. Like, I just said this to pile number 1 as well. It never surprises me to see these types of energies where it's like, oh, my shadow is also where I'm showing mastery. But what is the most obvious in this pile in particular is that your understanding, you guys have a good grip and a good understanding that what it is that you're here to bring to the world is deeply intertwined with your shadows and deeply intertwined with your karma, okay? And so however you have learned to overcome those things and how you're working at like understanding those things so it becomes easier to accept yourself, because that's really the hardest part of karma, and overcoming karma is just our acceptance of it. And not making that mean anything. Like, it's just all information, and it's so interesting how we like can create with this magician energy. We decide what we create from there, like just based off of our perception and based off the meaning that we attach to our shadows, right, and our karmic propensities, whatever. And so I feel like you guys have decided or learned somehow to attach a more positive spin on those things, because it's like, why not? And like, what else are we here for than to like explore, you know? So there's this very lighthearted sense that I'm getting from this group, and also this sense too that you are helping other people kind of revolutionize the way that they see things as well, and to kind of like remove this very, what's the word, like stigmatized, or, you know, these areas of our psyche and the human spirit, or just like the human experience that we tend to like want to keep under, like within the shadows. I feel like you make it very normal, and you help other people embrace that as well, which actually shows people what true happiness is, right? There's so much here about manifestation, and it's like, you guys, your biggest strength in the month of June is you are manifesting from a place of wholeness and not a place of like needing something to get, validation, or needing to like a neediness type of energy. You're really sitting in your power. Okay, I feel like as well, there might be a little bit of like, the main challenge I see for you guys in the month of June is just, you're taking your faith and your ability to trust in your own self and what you divine, you know, another way of saying that doesn't have to look like traditional tarot cards or whatever, or like runes or anything, you know, magic, or sorry, candle wax or anything, but just what you receive, you know, from spirit, from your connection, and trusting that and standing behind that, okay? I feel like that's why one of the reasons in June, it's like, it's really, you're really amplifying your ability to speak on those things that come through, and you're just offering, it's very similar to pile 1, you're offering a perspective that is very authentic to you, and it doesn't sound like it's regurgitated, it doesn't sound like, you know, the difference between, this is just something I notice, and for me, like when I am speaking about things that I've actually unearthed within myself, and I'm like, this is actually from my own experience, and you know, this is something I received from spirit, and this is something that I have confirmed through my actual experience. You speak from a different place, right? There's a different sense of authority with all this Leo energy coming through. There's a different place of authority that you speak from when it is coming from your own you know, from your own wellspring. And I know that we're all a collective, and in this age of Aquarius, we're all building off of each other's ideas and etc. You know, and so it's like, we're not really separate in that sense, okay? But it's like, there's a degree here of not playing safe, or not diluting your message, not dimming it down for the sake of appeasing other people, or you know, wanting to not come across a certain way, okay? With all of this Libra energy, it's just something to be mindful of, because your guys' heart is in the right place. That's very clear. It's very obvious that you want to do the right thing. You want to give back in a way that, you know, honors the most amount of people involved, even if it's sometimes that means that, you know, you're kind of like taking the hit, right? In terms of like, maybe you give a lot of things away for free, or, you know, that kind of thing, where you'd rather put other people first than yourself. Okay, that type of people-pleasing type of energy. Again, I'm seeing what is the shadow that we're working with is also our greatest sense of mastery. So I feel like maybe you guys have just seen people like take advantage of other people, and so you're like, God, I do not want to be like that. Whoops. So it's kind of like that saying of like, if you see a flaw in someone else, work on it within yourself, okay? And like, if you see a strength within someone else, like notice that within yourself, right? Versus like then making it about something external to you. It's like, okay, how does this apply to me? So that's something that you guys are already really good at. That's an area that you're showing a lot of mastery, is your heart's in the right place, and you don't have to worry about that. You know, being aware of it, having that mindful mindfulness around it kind of suggests that you're probably not a person to worry about in terms of taking advantage of other people or just like exploiting situations, people, etc., for your own benefit, okay? So there's something here about sticking to what comes through and not questioning and not, again, with this Empress, it's like interesting that it's overseeing this Ten of Pentacles. So, you know, I feel like you guys tend to sell yourself shorter. You really don't see yourself in the light that most people do. And not that that's important to see yourself how other people do, but I feel like it's because you worry if you're doing the right thing, or you worry about if people are receiving you in a positive light, or if they're like misinterpreting things. But I feel like more of this shadow is your own perception of yourself. All right. And like trusting your guidance, trusting where you're guided, trusting where you're led, trusting your passions, and understanding that, you know, I feel like sometimes we can just reach not even analysis paralysis, because you guys are showing a lot of activity, right? With all of this Aries, this Leo, you know, this Libra energy. It's very active is what I'm getting. Like you guys are not ones to like sit back and do nothing. But at the same time, I feel like there is a sense here of just not fully enjoying your experience because you think something is wrong with you, or you think you're not complete or something. And, you know, your greatest strength where you're showing mastery is actually that you have overcome a lot of your karma. You have the scales have really tipped in terms of you being a conscious co-creator. You know, like free will is kind of up in the air to the same extent that we're asleep, or to the same extent that, you know, haven't woken up, you know. And oh my God, there's so many different layers to this, and I'm trying to keep these readings short and concise and sweet, right, to the point. So ultimately what I'm trying to say here is the scales have tipped. All right. And you guys are doing it. Like you're locked in. And I feel like you are showing a lot of mastery in terms of your integrity, in terms of how loving you are and how like compassionate you are. And there's a lot that you've released with this Morganite. There's a lot of like that those calluses around your heart. You've released a lot of that protection. And it feels so good. Okay. It feels like a breath of fresh air. And I'm not sure if that's how you guys feel more and more. That's how people feel around you. But you know, you're doing it. And over here we do also have like the sense, the reason that we have the High Priestess coming up underneath the Ten of Cups is, I feel like intuitively you might know this, but Spirit is really reiterating that you really don't see to the degree, all right? Because you know yourself, you know your ins and outs, and you know your flaws, you know what you have to work on, and you have your own stuff. But I feel like you guys, pile number 2 doesn't really see the extent of warmth and compassion, and like there's so much about spiritual understanding. You bring people so much understanding about their life and their direction and where they're going, and so keep on, okay? You're definitely going to feel more of that in the month of June, and this is just your reminder. You're on the right path. You're doing a great job. There's a lot of love coming into your experience, and a lot of these energies are things that like, this is something that I feel like will be very noticeable in terms of your personality, because we do have the Sun coming up and we do have Venus. So everything about like how we show up in the eyes of other people. So don't be surprised if the month of June people like, you look really good. Like, what have you been eating? How have you been working out? Like, people are going to comment on your personality and how light you seem and how great you feel. And yeah, just expect people to like be looking at you differently, and in a really good way. All right. Because yeah, you guys have been on your path for some time and really working at it and like keeping it fun and lighthearted along the way. But again, there's an emphasis here of like, you really don't see yourself. Like, you really don't see yourself as bright as you actually are. Okay. Pile 2, if anything, you know, you could just be a little bit like lighter towards yourself. You're not going to fall off. All right. You're locked in. And I really don't see someone with these types of codes being steered off their path easily at all. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this reading here for now. If this brought clarity, confirmation, and peace to your heart, please give this video a thumbs up. If you chose this pile, maybe leave like a lion down below. Yeah, a little lion emoji, or moon if you want, for the High Priestess energy. And yeah, I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 3, welcome to your reading for June energetics. Okay, we're diving into the overall theme. We're going to get into the shadow aspects, or the more challenging aspects of this month for you, as well as the areas that you're exuding a degree of mastery in. Okay, so beautiful how these all tie into each other. Okay, so I noticed in these 2 cards, it said self-awareness and self-love. Okay, so there was an emphasis of the self being exhibited here. Also, these are the crystals. Damn it, I forgot to do that, but we're already on a roll. So I was like, okay, there's a lot of focus of the self this month. And then, of course, we have the 2 cards that really emphasize that the most, which is the 9 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles coming up. So this is all so beautiful. This all really ties into each other so beautifully, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and start with your strengths, because that is just what is so loud to me this month for you guys, is the fact that, I mean, you guys, when you make decisions, it's really, this month, you're really going to see how far you've come in terms of doing the things that empower you the most, okay? So in terms of selecting new decisions or new pathways or even partners, okay, just like anything in your life, like if it's not adding to you, if you don't see it being a part of your long-term empire, then like you're like, I'm not going to stick around. Like, what's that quote? Like, fuck around and find out. You're like, I'm not fucking around, and I'm not going to wait to find out when like my intuition tells me better and tells me that there's that this is just not it, right? And I also saw, it's so funny I'm bringing up this analogy, because I saw something on Instagram the other day that was like, you know, the fucking around is part of Earth, right? And the waiting around to find out why is like part of spirituality. I thought that was really funny. I'm like, oh, that's a really good way of putting that. So at the end of the day, you guys know that there's nothing you can do to mess up or like to veer off your path. However, I feel like you're just like, the month of June for you is no nonsense. You're like, I'm really about what I came here to do with all of this earth energy. This is very active. This is very grounded. There's like a grounded spirituality, like a grounded, like, God, spirituality seems to kind of dilute the energy that I'm feeling, because this is citrine spirit quartz, okay, and pink halite. So this is all about, like, your heart is blown wide open. The kundalini, the serpent energy is like very active, going up your spine, right? The energy is circulating throughout your chakras. So there is the degree of mastery that you guys are exuding within yourself and your spiritual journey, and just how you make decisions it's very on point. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys already have some sort of empire in the making, or you guys like already have a very large following, or a very big, I don't want to say fan base, but just like client base or something, or you're very well known, or at the very least, like, you just have BDE, okay, big destiny energy that's coming through, and a lot of people respect you, and I feel like a lot of people see you as the ideal partner. And in the month of June, you're seeing that even more. You already know that about yourself, right? This is okay, because you've really aligned to something that's bigger than yourself. And so when you're tuning into that higher aspect of yourself, it's like, you know, you got it going on, okay? You know, you have the energy of the cosmos backing up your sails, all right? Yeah, it's just like opening your sails, and the universe is kind of doing the work for you. So I feel like the month of June, it's like no nonsense, no bullshit. It's like, come correct or don't come at all. And you have no problem cutting out those things that aren't aligning. You have no problem like officially closing off those loose ends and ending those relationships, or at least putting like a more permanent pause on them. Like, you're really getting to a point where I feel like you guys are starting to see and notice that there's just like things that might be taking up space in your reality that might be blocking your blessings, okay? And so you're like, if I don't see this part of my long term, if this is not deep down what I know it is that I want, then I'm not going to entertain it anymore, because why? You know, I'm not going to settle for the partner that is just, you know, good in some areas but not great, and, you know, someone that doesn't appreciate my work and doesn't even at the very least appreciate me, you know, with all this earth energy coming through. Like, there is a sense of people that fit into your life, and the things that fit into your life need to be aligning with that greater vision. And I feel like when people show you and voice to you that they see that, and that they're proud of the work that you do, or that they admire the work that you put out, I feel like it just shows you something, right? And I feel like it's a very necessary part. I don't know why this is coming through, but oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of this lover's energy coming through. So one thing that I feel like maybe in the past you might have like settled on is like people that were, you know, appreciative of you in some senses, but you're like, okay, but if this person is not going to help me build my empire, or not even like help me, but if they don't appreciate what I'm doing for the world, then it's not it, right? Because they don't get it, or, you know, I shouldn't have to explain myself, or they you know, explaining yourself in the sense of why this is so important to you, okay? And you're coming with the energy of like, my vision and my purpose is so much more important than, you know, a romantic dynamic. And so it's like, you know, I'm not going to make you the most important thing above that. And so there's a lot of boss energy that's coming through, okay? Like, I love it. I love this for you. And how you're making decisions from this point on is like, is this aiding to my long-term vision? Does this make sense in terms of my purpose? And it's not just like a floozy little fling or whatever anymore. It's like we don't have that type of energy. We don't want to create any more karma to clean up, okay? So now moving over to your shadowy aspect for the month of June. So I am saying with the sun and moon, there's a lot of awareness around the healing that you have yet to do, specifically in terms of your finances, okay? So with the Five of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, and even the Star card here, there's a sense of being a little bit uneasy about the practicality behind these things, which I'm not surprised. You guys could have a lot of earth energy in your chart, or even like earth moons and suns in particular too, because there's a sense of like, can I really make this happen? Or like, I feel like there's some things maybe in childhood that happened, like maybe there was some sort of an unstable foundation, even if it wasn't in terms of finances. If there was any part of your root chakra that felt unstable, that is most certainly going to affect all forms of foundation, which one of the main ones on this planet is financial security, okay? So that is coming up here as maybe being something that is triggered or something that you're just really aware of because it's being triggered to heal it, okay? You know, if we don't have areas to heal, right? If there's an area within us that doesn't need healing, it's not going to be triggered or it's not going to hurt. There's not going to be a tender sensation around it. But for you guys, you might be noticing like you might want to go on an adventure, you might want to travel, or there's something here about an investment that you might be making or considering making in the month of June that I feel like would be very beneficial. Like you've always been taken care of is what the universe is saying, what your guides are saying. You've always made it through. You've never been without. You've always been successful. However, there's like this underlying feeling of like counting pennies and you know, there's no judgment when I'm saying this, okay? I definitely have similar codes in my blueprint, all right? So it's like being very like, just fearful, having some fearful energy and just more of that cautious energy of like, am I going to be provided for? Like, is this worthy of my investment or should I do this? Okay, and so just be aware that you might have an opportunity to really, again, you're making decisions. I feel like this is like, trusting that you will make decisions for your highest good is what this is about. And this one is about giving you the results that complement your needs and also the opportunities that complement those needs too. So it's like, it's really important because where you're showing mastery, they might seem like unrelated fields, but in terms of like making decisions, like anytime you're adding value to yourself by going to those workshops, you know, signing up for that breathwork class, anything that helps you delve deeper into your spirit and kind of clear out those stagnant pockets of energy that can like live in our cells, like whatever ways in the month of June that you might be considering deepening your knowledge or expanding it in some way that feels really opening to the heart and really just like electrifying to your spirit, it would be wise to invest in those things. And just notice too, it might also trigger the sense of like not knowing how you're going to be taken care of, or like, oh gosh, like it might be a bigger investment that you're like, should I really be doing this? And this is a training ground for you, right? With the Four of Swords coming up, it's really important that you're watching your thoughts, okay? And you're not letting them kind of have their way with you, right? You're watching them and understanding that the more intense they are, that the deeper the healing is happening here, and you're going to be taken care of throughout this, okay? But it's important that you're not, pausing. I don't want to say it to, I never want to come across like I know what's best for you guys. Do what the fuck you want to, okay? Because your best teacher and guide, okay, lives within you. But what is really being emphasized here is that there's a lot of healing that might be occurring through these things that might at first seem a little bit impulsive. And you're like, okay, am I making an impulsive decision? Is this an impulsive buy? Is this A, B, C, and D? But, I feel like there is something that is also in tune with those things that is kind of helping undo this karma. So it's like you feel that fear energy there and you decide to do something anyways, because adding to your highest version and making decisions that are ultimately going to benefit you in the long term, right, might not show you short-term results, but are here for long-term benefit, long-term results. It's important that you're like leaning into those things and understanding it's going to trigger those things that are necessary in order to help that healing. But ultimately, you're good. You know, you're going to come out on top and you're always going to be taken care of. All right. And that's something else that you're going to be, that you have the opportunity to see in the month of June as well. Wow. Yeah. I really have always been taken care of. Even when I did that thing like 2 years ago that I thought I would never financially recover from, I mean, I don't even think about it now, you know, and this is going to be another one of those things. You're always going to be taken care of, okay? And there's a lot of like self-awareness coming through. So this is a very beautiful month, deepening into yourself, trusting yourself even more, trusting the universe even more. You know, it's one and the same. But I really am seeing you guys no nonsense, okay? You're really locking in to a deeper degree and you're like, no bullshit, okay? And you're really on that boss energy, okay? And it's beautiful to see, it's beautiful to feel, and I feel like I feel like you're doing it, pal number 3. I'm going to leave this reading here for now. If it brought clarity, confirmation, and peace to your heart, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below. Maybe leave some, I don't know, what emoji could be used for this? Maybe leave a star, or I don't know, it's an emperor, like a crown or something. Whatever feels right for you to kind of signify that this is the pile that you chose. And yeah, I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 4, welcome to your reading for June energies. We're diving into the overall theme as well as the shadow aspects that you'll be addressing. So the more challenging aspects of this month for you, as well as where you are exuding a degree of mastery, a really obvious, tangible degree of mastery. Okay, so the overall theme, you guys, for this month for my pile number 4s, we have Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, and Pluto at the forefront. So what this really tells me is that you are beginning to notice how much not only you transform, but how much your relationships transform and the type of person that you attract into your life, whether it be friends, you know, platonic or romantic, whatever. The opportunities, the people, the circumstances, when you are allowing the depths of yourself to be expressed and not held back, right? There's a lot here about like the fullness of who you are being activated even more when you're not just displaying those areas of yourself that you think are going to get you recognition. And I'm not calling you guys out or anything, but you know, that's just something that is very just common, or I think it's almost like encouraged, you know, like toxic positivity in this like self-help age that we're all in this age of Aquarius, right? I feel like you guys are really seeing with this Kyanite and Kunzite energy, you guys are really seeing that by you not filtering yourself, right? And just saying it how it is from the core of your truth, right? You're seeing how much you transform, and you're seeing all the beauty that comes from that. And it's interesting too, because I'm noticing very similar codes within the people that are drawn to my channel. I'm not surprised, because I also have like this, I can tend to have this people-pleasing / inferior ego type of complex. And so with that type of complex, we can almost like, it's so obvious to us when people are, we just like don't want to be the type of person that makes other people feel a certain type of way, like negatively about themselves, or like, it's almost like we can repress our own truth because we're afraid of how that is going to make someone else feel, or not even truth, but just like what our like truthful experiences in that moment. Doesn't mean it's like going to be our end all be all truth for the rest of this incarnation and for the rest of all eternity, but just like honoring our experiences and what they're bringing up for us in those moments, okay? Because I am dealing with a group of older souls, all right? People that have been on this journey for a while, that have taken incarnation many times, and so I feel like older souls can be too cosmic sometimes in terms of like understanding, all right, at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter, like it's all good, like, you know, if it's a trigger that I'm experiencing, it has more to do with me and less about other people. But it's like honoring that delicate balance. And so you guys are starting to see that beautiful balance and the freedom that comes along with letting yourself be human, all right, and letting yourself experience the full spectrum of human emotions. Like, we didn't come here to just experience bliss, okay? Like, despite popular opinion, that's like not what I believe. I feel like we come from bliss, and we come from wholeness, and we come from, you know, we come from non-separation, unity, consciousness, and we come here to experience separation. We do come here for that. We do come here to experience anger and rage and sadness, because we don't experience that when we're just fully merged and we're on the other side of the veil. And so we want to experience those things, okay? We want to experience those, what it means to feel so separate from source and so disconnected from other people that we slip into these like lower states, like because it's so foreign, And so I feel like one of your challenges within this month, I feel like there's something that you're experiencing in the month of June that makes you feel like you should be over this by now. All right. It's like an old karmic wound or like a coping mechanism, or it might not even be a coping mechanism, but it just might be like, again, your ideas around something being not serving for you. Maybe it's just like for whatever reason, you're deciding to go out and have drinks and you don't really drink, right? But you're just like wanting to go out more. There's like a sense of like feeling guilty, even though it's no thing with the Six of Wands. It's really not a big deal. I feel like just your thoughts around it can either like make it a better experience or a worse experience, There is a lot here too about the month of June that you guys are, like when this healing happens, that, whatever area that you're being karmically triggered or whatever, where you're like, oh God, I thought I was over this already. I feel like you're starting to see more clearly how you tend to settle. All right, when you're like the Empress and you settle for like the Knight of Cups, right? And this is not necessarily about people. It most certainly can be, because I am saying a lot here about new people coming into your life and having really great reflections of, people that are more on your level and in your realms versus this kind of more shadowy tendency to settle. Because when these old karmic wounds are like activated, or you tend to like slip into more negative mindsets, I feel like that's your lens of perception is being veiled in that moment. And so you're focusing on those spilled, right? Those things that are spilled, those things that seem like they're not working versus like the things that you're actually really good at and how far you've actually come, kind of energy. And so when those karmic things are activated this month for you and you're like, I should be over this, or I should be over this person, or I should be over this thing, whatever it is, just notice that it's easier for you to accept less in all other areas because you're thinking less of yourself. You don't have to be, but that's just, again, in this culture of like always being like wanting to be better than you were yesterday. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not shaming that in any way. Like, oh, you want to be better than you were yesterday. But it's like, it can just become so overly focused that we lose today, and we lose like the beauty of today, and the fact that, it's just like at the end of the day, we've just made all of this up, so it's like we don't have to take it so seriously. We can really just enjoy our life. I feel like you guys just there is a sense of overthinking and just like anxiety that is not actually rooted in truth, right? That is coming to the surface in the month of June for you guys. And again, there might be an opportunity that you see where you could potentially settle for less than you deserve. And it's just, if that does happen, you'll get over it, right? And you'll recognize it, I feel. But if anything, like if you can just push through and see it for what it is and don't take the bait and don't accept it, because what I'm seeing where you guys are showing a degree of mastery in the month of June, or there is a lot of potential to show mastery, is that, by you just like honoring where you're at, honoring who you are, not putting on a show, not like, I am kind of getting that energy of like you giving things chances, or you giving people chances because like you're just such an equalizing force, you know what I mean? You just see everyone as equal, and so you give chances to people and to everyone, even when it's like, it doesn't make sense to you, like it makes sense to respect everyone as sparks of God, I get it, but in terms of like the practicality and what it is you guys came to explore, it doesn't make sense to give everyone a chance in that way or in specific ways. And so in the month of, with all of this Taurus energy, Taurus is highlighted throughout this reading. So this is about like knowing what you want and knowing that you want those lavish things. You want that lavish romance. You want to just like bask in the beauty of things with all this Venusian energy that's being highlighted. It's like you want the good things in life, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, you don't have to judge yourself for wanting those things, okay? Like with the Empress and the Emperor energy coming up, like it is in your blueprint. Right? You don't have to deny those things to yourself just because, again, there's a sense of like overly people-pleasing, having that in your blueprint. Okay, but I am seeing like a myriad of people from both genders coming into your reality that they all offer different things, okay? But I feel like you're starting to see the more that you express yourself and the more that you honor what it is you really want, okay? That's Jupiter and Neptune. The more you honor what you really want, and not just honoring those things because like you feel bad that if you have it, someone else somehow is going to be lacking. That's not how it works, like denying your own abundance, denying your own heart's desires, your deepest heart's desires, because you don't want someone else to feel bad that you have it because they don't. Like, that is kind of the energy that's coming up. All right. And so it's about just like knowing that the more you stand in your own power and the more that you accept your heart's desires and express it and own it for what it is, like things are going to take off so much deeper. Okay. Because I feel like you guys are a really equalizing force in terms of being able to hold a lot of space for other people. And you're starting to see the month of June how many great opportunities come to you when you are embracing all of those aspects. And it's interesting because I feel like it's the hardest part for you to accept about yourself. It's like it's almost easy for you to kind of accept these shadowy things, right? But I feel like it's almost harder for you to accept how great you are and the great things that you deserve and the abundance that's coming in for you. It's almost harder for you to accept that part of your chart and that part of your blueprint. It's like, who am I to be deserving of this? Because maybe you did come from a lot of lack and, have some sort of like things that happened early on where you thought that you did deserve, the bare minimum or whatever, because that's what was shown to you. That's how love was exuded to you or something. Right. And so the more that you're just like, no, I'm transforming and I'm not gonna, I'm seeing these things for what they are, understand these have to play themselves out, but I'm going to push through and understand that I deserve what my heart really desires, right? Those aren't planted there by accident. And there's a lot of like revolution is happening in terms of love and in terms of friendship, in terms of socializing. And I do see in the month of June, you guys are meeting a lot of new people, all right? But people that are like really in their power as well. And I feel like that might also be a long time coming. Or maybe that's just something that you just noticed that you're like, oh my God, this is really cool. Like I'm meeting a lot of like other entrepreneurs and people that are very emotionally mature and expressive and in their power and that are also like giving back to the world in a really positive and profound way. Like you're meeting other people that are creatives and that are doing really cool things on the planet, and there might even be the potential or the possibility to work with them, or you guys are at least exchanging like things, like even if it's just text messages or something. But it's like the sense of feeling so good that the more that you honor your truth and the more that you communicate your truth, the more that you communicate from a space of clarity and knowing who you are, the more that like the goodness and the beauty starts flooding in. Okay. And this is like starting energetically, and it's only a matter of time before you see that externally reflected in your reality. And it's like you're traveling, you're meeting these people, you're collaborating real time, and this is beautiful. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. All right. And yeah, just how you're making decisions is from that place of worthiness and not from that place of like, I want to make sure this person feels this way and I don't want them to make them feel bad if I'm not choosing them. It's like, we don't control these things from this level. And you're starting to just be more okay, be more in flow with what feels organic for you and less mentally like confusing yourself about what's the right thing to do. You're like, okay, the right thing for everyone to do is just follow their heart, to keep tuning in and to follow where they're guided. Right. And so you teach that to everyone involved the more that you do that yourself. So month of June is beautiful. Expect to meet a few people, like men and like female and males that you're collaborating with, that you're speaking with, that are really exciting to be around. Okay. And maybe even talking about what can we build together. All right. So pile number 4, I'm going to leave this here for now. If this brought clarity, confirmation, and peace to your heart, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Let's leave like a crown or something with all of this like, all of this empowered energy that's coming through. And I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 5, if you chose this Wavelite and purple tourmaline crystal, these crystals, this is your reading for June energetics. So, right, this is your June overview. We're diving into the overall theme as well as your areas of challenge and then your areas of mastery for this month. Okay, so right away, the overall theme is noticing the difference between making decisions from a place of peace and a place of knowing yourself. Okay, we have judgment coming up twice here. So this is a very, very amplified energy, the month of June, as well as Aquarius energy. Okay, so making decisions from a place of peace and a place of knowing who it is that you came here to be and not settling. Okay, so to get a little bit deeper into this and how this is going to show up in the month of June for you guys, I feel like in this shadowy energy, it's like the greatest challenge for you is going to be breaking that cycle of knowing what it is that you want and then choosing something else, right? Knowing what's going to set your soul free and the decisions that would truly set your soul free, and then not doing that, right? And maybe there's some misperceptions about what that would actually get you, and maybe you think that maybe the decisions that would set you free would actually create a lot more responsibility in your life or something, like hardship. But I am seeing this idea of like what it is that you do and what it is that you settle for, or, you know, the more challenging aspects of this month for you will be being one way or trying to appear one way on the surface, maybe to appease the likes of other people. This could have to do, it could be showing up a lot in your partnerships. Like I am seeing like platonic partnerships and even romantic too, but I am seeing the sense of there's the person that you exude, or you'll notice those sticky moments. You'll notice when you're like, oh, I'm trying to like accommodate someone else's ideas of me, or I'm trying to like put on a show for someone else for any reason. Like I'm trying to people please, because it's like you're coming across very like formal and kind of just like, I don't know, the sense of like, I don't want to say being stuck up or rigid, but that's kind of what it is. Okay. I love you guys, but it's those areas of your personality where you're like, where you notice a rigidity, and it's because you're not honoring like the eccentricity that you are underneath. It's like underneath this front that you might be putting off, that you might have learned, that has maybe gotten you to a certain point in time, is starting to really show itself to be very constrictive and very limiting. Okay, and so there is a lot here with all of this Aquarian energy, especially coming up with the moon, conjunction with the moon. It's like seeing things from a different lens of perception and understanding that like what I'm really seeing in your guys' codes is probably this sense of originality. And so it's like one of the ways that we can like, that we deny our truth, or that we start to feel like we're like a fake in a way. It's like, wow, I feel really fake right now, or just like I don't feel myself right now in this interaction. It's probably because it's like we sense something else in someone's field or within a dynamic that we have assumed, that we feel deep down, or there's a certain degree of like, it's not safe for me to show up fully in this moment. So you're learning to discern the difference between, is it really not safe, or am I just like worried about how this person is now going to interpret me? Because with this Queen of Wands energy coming up underneath the Hierophant, I am getting the sense that it's like, I don't know, that sense that you're putting on like a lady in the street, but you're really like a freak in the sheet, okay? And I'm sorry if that's the example that's coming through, all right? But you know what I mean? Where it's like reality and perception are very different in terms of like, you know, who you are. I'm so sorry to have used that example, but y'all know I like to mess around and just like have fun, okay? Not that kind of mess around, all right? I'm digging myself a hole, but you know, what? Okay, like not needing to put on a front and not needing to explain yourself, all right, or feel weird, or, you know, whatever. Like, you're learning that that's going to save you more time in the long run, in terms of if you're giving off Hierophant energy, but underneath you're really Queen of Wands, you know, it's only a matter of time before these people are going to find out anyways. So you might as well just own the fact that you're a bit unconventional in a lot of areas, and that's okay. There's nothing to be shameful about. You know, that's like really you just honoring who it is you came to be in the moments where you start to feel heavy and constricted and just like unfulfilled in your life, is when you're not honoring those things, and when you're, you know, when the sense of responsibility is being met with more logic than it is just like truth and honoring your true nature. All right, that's what it means by like decisions from a place of peace. It's like when we're making decisions from a place of peace, it's going to sow greater peace into our life. It's going to align us more so onto that path of our true nature, which is always going to feel fulfilling, regardless of if other people understand you or not. The right people will, and the right people will come. And that is something that I'm seeing over here. It's like, for one of your strengths, it's interesting. This has kind of come up in only one pile. This didn't happen, I'm pretty sure, so far, where we have a similar card on the shadow, as well as the same card, I should say, on the shadow as we do on the strength, and like where you're showing mastery. Because I feel like in terms of you knowing yourself and the clarity you have about yourself, and when you're alone by yourself, like you're very balanced, and you're very like, you know who you are, and nothing can really phase you, and you feel really good. But in terms of like, we have a lot of this Libra energy coming up again, as it has in many of these other piles. I feel like around other people is where you are going to be deepening this degree of mastery even more, where it's like you're not flinching, you're unchanging in who you are, no matter if you're by yourself or with other people. And again, it's like you can still be aware of other people's paradigms, you know, you can still see and sense where other people are at. And so, you know, you're not gonna, you know, talk about freaking, this actually does talk about aliens. You're not going to talk about like extraterrestrials to people that seem like, you know, they're very religious or something, you know, that kind of thing. So you're very intuitive in that sense, but at the same time, it's like you're starting to have no fucks in like how you come across to other people, right? And feeling ashamed to be who you are, you know, like, or like what you're into and the unconventions that feel very natural to you. Like you're not shameful of it when you're by yourself, but I feel like it's only when you start to explain it to other people or get around other people, maybe depending on who it is, maybe it's even family for some of you guys, and maybe it's just like I'm just getting a sense of denial when other people come around or something. Okay, but it's like you've gotten to where you are. Like you've made a lot of great decisions for yourself, pile number 5, that you should be very proud of. Okay, like in terms of big picture, like you have done a really good job of following things that seem right to you and making decisions from a place of wanting to be a complete person and not wanting to rely on other people, not wanting to be codependent, not wanting to, you know, feel like you're sucking life from outside versus being like the giver of life, the source of life, the source of your own strength. And so I'm really seeing that as something that's really important to you, and acting from integrity and giving back to the world from a place of integrity. Like there's a lot here about what it is that you came to contribute to the planet. I guess it's just the souls that are drawn to tarot in general, or just like, and the beings that are drawn to my channel in particular are really about their life purpose and really about their like cosmic mission. Okay. But I shouldn't say but, and I'm just seeing that in terms of making decisions and like on a personal level, you've been really good at that. However, when it comes to other people and how you think it might affect other people, that's where you're given the opportunity to make different decisions. Okay. And from this place of peace again, and like relaxing into who you are, and remembering there's nothing to prove to who, to why. Like we're all just, you know, the core of us is the same being, you know, behind all of these facades that we're wearing, you know. And when I say facade, I mean more of like the individuals that we came to take on in this lifetime, you know, the people we are pretending to be just for the experience of having fun and dancing, you know, and just being alive, being incarnate. But I am seeing that with this Mars and Venus type of energy, it's like unleashing your fullness, all right, and not tiptoeing around who you are anymore, because that's becoming a detriment to yourself. And so when you start to do that, you're going to notice the month of June, I'm feeling in the smallest of ways, when it's like, oh, I'm starting to like kind of sacrifice myself and like diluting who I came to be to appease someone else. And so there's a degree of freedom that is possible. Like there's a great potential for you to deepen this sense of being such a clear authority in who it is that you came here to be. And I feel like by you helping tie off this kind of energy of diluting yourself and feeling heavy because you feel like there's something like, I don't know, you guys seem different, okay? I don't know what that... Yeah, I've definitely heard this before, okay? But you guys are just like unconventional maybe, and so like it seems normal to you, and the only time shame starts to creep in is maybe when you're around other people that are more of like, you know, the regs, you know? And so again, with all of this moon energy, it's like really an opportunity to see where you are being kind of consumed by like your own illusions. Like these are your own making, your own... This is like a cage, I guess, of your own making. When you believe it to be true, you're caging yourself even more when to believe it to be true is when you start to feel contracted, and you do actually start to like change who you are and change how you make decisions and change how you come across because you think someone can't handle it. That's when you're caging yourself. And so you have the ability to deeply revolutionize where you're going and how free you feel while you're getting there. And I feel like the month of June is you have a really big opportunity through these challenging aspects to help chip through a great deal of this karmic knot that seems to be part of your blueprint. Okay, and so how you're making decisions is easier, and you're more convicted in yourself. And it's interesting because I feel like you'll really see the more that you're just like, yep, this is who I am, this is what I stand for. Like, I feel like people aren't going to be as like testy of that foundation as they might be if you came across a little bit more unsure of it. I feel like you're really deepening into your surety of who it is you came to be. There's an opportunity to do that in the month of June. And so because of that, because you're like, this is what I stand for, this is what makes me free, this is what I came to do, and fuck you if you're on board or not, I don't care, bye. I feel like you're just saving yourself a lot of like headaches and heartbreaks, okay? Yeah, and there is this sense of like the Empress energy of like, like everything that you need comes to you, and everything that's not meant to be, like you're kind of have like this protective sheath around you. But again, because I feel like this energy might have been around for a while. Wow, when we are able, serenity and peace in life comes when we're able to detach from external views. Yes, totally. So an overemphasis of caring too much what other people feel, and you're starting to deepen into your true peace, your true freedom, your true ability to just be who you are. There's no greater freedom than that, and that is a freedom that cannot be fucking taken away from you, no matter what your external reality looks like. When you know yourself, man, like, when you know yourself, and the more you get to know yourself, and the less that you filter that true self, that true nature, the path is just made so clear for you. All right people come at the right time, right components click into place, and yeah, there's a great potential for you guys to undo a lot of this karma and to really have so much more fun. So much more fun, you guys, okay, and going good places and even more fulfilled than you already are within yourself, okay? So I'm going to leave this reading here for now. If this brought clarity, confirmation, peace to your heart, please give this video a thumbs up. Please comment down below a sword if you chose this pile, if that resonates, just so we know who else chose this beautiful pile number 5 today. And I do hope to see you again on my channel soon. Much love. Hey, group number 6, if you chose tree agate and amber as your crystals, this is your reading for June energies, okay? So we're diving into the overall theme as well as the shadow and light aspects. Another way of saying that is the areas of challenge and the areas of the most degree of mastery that you'll be noticing in this month, okay? So the major theme is about grounding, okay? We have grounding literally coming up twice here, and then we have the Hermit. We have a lot of tenacity in your chart and a lot of practical energy coming up, okay? So the way that these challenges might present themselves is the month of June. I feel like we are really in tune. Pile number 6 is really in tune with who it is they came to be. Or at the very least, you guys are open to exploring that even more, open to exploring what really sets you free and what makes you come alive the most. However, I am getting, because we have so much of this grounding energy that is the main theme, and the main energy over on this section is, this moon energy, and which talks about illusions, right? Which talks about our greatest fears and things that might not actually be there, might not actually be there. I mean, check this moon card. I don't think I've ever seen a moon card be depicted like this, but it's really important that we're learning how to ground this almost chaotic sense of the moon, because the moon's not always bad. Like, it can also talk about just like being very intuitive, right? Very psychic. But in this sense, because it's being amplified by the 9 of Swords energy, I'm getting the sense that either there's a lot of, you're feeling very electric and like anything is possible, but we're not really getting anywhere, or it's like there's a lot of anxiety around, can this actually be possible? So almost the sense of you're shooting it down before it even has potential to take root. It's almost like reaching analysis paralysis, because there's like I feel like it might feel too good to be true, something that, like an idea that you've been working on, or something that you start to like want to work towards in the month of June, or this might just be overall, you might just be feeling that this new direction that you set off on is like, it almost feels like it's too good to be true to you, right? And so there is a sense that we need to ground our energies a bit, okay? And you know, one of the strengths that I am seeing is that overall you guys are really good at making decisions from your heart, okay? And understanding that when it's made from the heart, that it is coming from something higher than yourself, and learning how to release those things. You guys have a good understanding that the greatest things and the greatest realities that you can dream of, and, you know, the life of your dreams essentially is going to require you to go on a path that exposes you to your own self, exposes your own limitations, your own limited views and perceptions of the world, etc. And so overall, I am seeing that when you guys align to something, it's like nothing can really get in your way. Like there's this undeniable sense of like that activated earth element where, you know, you're plowing through obstacles and challenges, right? I feel like, however, it's interesting that we have over here that in some areas I feel like you get that and you know that, and that's how you move. But I feel like in the month of June, I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Like those drawn to this pile might be going through a significant like transit or something in their natal chart, but there is something that is presented to you that I feel like is really in alignment with like what it is you're here for, but it might just seem so much bigger than you. And like, honestly, the sense of like, wow, could this really happen? Could we really do this? Right? It's that sense like, you know, don't be worried about achieving your goal. You know, when it's like, when we set goals that are super small, like we should be worried about achieving them. Or, you know, is it really a good thing to achieve those things that are like easy to achieve? That kind of thing. Because then it's like, okay, what else do I have to work for? What else do I have to go for? But I feel like this thing that is being presented to you, or this idea that you get, feels so much bigger than you. And like, you're like, can I really achieve this? And Spirit is really wanting to emphasize this sense of like being grounded and like develop those roots with this tree agate. Develop your roots first. And it's much more about the journey and like the hero's journey. It's not about getting to the end of the hero's journey, but it's about the unearthing of who it is you came to be along the way, of meeting those challenges, etc. And so I feel like there's a lot that is manifesting for you and presenting itself in your reality that seems almost too good to be true, and it's bringing up a lot of this kind of chaotic energy. And there's a lot about going within and figuring out where this is going to lead you. Because for some of you, this might even be an opportunity that takes you somewhere else, that takes you on a plane somewhere, or that, you know, wants you to move somewhere else. It feels like a big shift that is really in alignment with, you know, your dharma. And like, and some people ask me, what is that? You know, a pretty basic way of putting it out, or just like saying it, is your life purpose, what it is that you came to give to the world. And so there is a sense on one hand of like, yes, all of this energy is very excited and needing to, you know, ground it in, ground it down, and understanding that, you know, yeah, what does it say? Amber was believed by the Chinese to encapsulate the soul of the tiger when it dies. Okay, and so that's the energy that we're feeling. It's feeling like very unstoppable. And again, I just keep hearing too good to be true. And it's so important that you don't believe the voice that says that, okay? And that you lean into it. And when you're in meditation, when you're not overly focusing on this thing, again, you're just letting yourself be guided by your heart, which in most areas you guys are really good at, but this is taking it to a next level with whatever this permission slip is. Or it could be a series of small things that take you outside of your comfort zone and that take you beyond like what you're used to, right? With this Three of Wands energy, it takes you beyond your current horizons and shows you a different level of yourself in a really good way. All right, and it's like the more that you're living in that space and just kind of surrendering how you think things should go, then naturally you're going to undo this type of energy. But you guys already understand that good things in life take time, right? They're not always going to be easy. Like the most rewarding journeys that we take aren't going to be easy, right? And so I feel like in that sense and of being practical and understanding, and that sense of being just realistic, you understand that, you know, the best journeys are going to have challenges interwoven in it, right? And so I feel like that's really on your side in terms of that. And I feel like too, this is really saying that you know, an area you're showing mastery is that you really do put like, the Ace of Cups always reminds me of the emotional guidance system, okay? Because this is the heart chakra, and that is our seat of, that's the bridge between our higher chakras, so what we're receiving from the divine, and our lower chakras, how we're grounding that on earth, how we're letting that manifest in our own unique way through this avatar that we chose, okay? And so I feel like you're generally in the areas that it really matters and really counts, which I don't know, I guess you could say all areas, but in the areas that it really makes a difference, you're already doing it really well. Okay, you've already laid a solid foundation and demonstrated a certain degree of like authority and conviction, and just like you've really demonstrated your mastery in this area and things working out for you when you do follow your heart, when you let your heart be the guide. And so now it's like you've been making space and you've been tackling your demons and you've been seeing them for what they are. And it says used as a purifier, cleansing the environment and chakras. Right? So you've been doing a lot of this cleansing of your environment and removing those things that keep you stagnant and that just really don't fit anymore. Right? And so because you've been making space and you've been doing a really good job of following your heart to this degree, the month of June, something's about to be popping off, and I hope you guys tell me what it is, whether it's an idea that you received through meditation or on a run or when you're working out, or something you receive when you least expect it. Like a new idea, it's like, don't wait on it, okay? And just like start getting the things in motion, start moving in that direction to where you're actualizing it, because there's a lot of potential for it to take you really far, and I feel like it is. If there's any question, like, could this really be true, or could this really lead me somewhere that I want to go? It's like, yes. This might even be something that you've been contemplating for some time, but it's just like the stars, for whatever reason, feel really aligned for this to like actually happen, for this to actually like, be more actualized, all right? Something about expression here too, and with this Mercurian energy and the sun energy, something about like, it has to do with your public image, it has to do with how people see you, it has to do with like, I don't want to say performance, but you being in the public eye and your expression, so who it is you came to be, being on the forefront, right? And like, there's so much freedom that I feel from this, and so many opportunities to meet other people where they're at and to build a community that is actually built on a solid foundation, right? And it's all because of all the work that you've been doing up to this point in time, pile number 6, right? And yeah, I feel like I'm really excited to see what this is. So if you guys do want to share down below like what it is you've been marinating on, or what this thing is when it comes in, please feel free to come back and do that. But I do feel a lot of potential with whatever this is, and remember that our fears, that's not our intuition, right? That's our conditioning, right? So it's important that learning how to distinguish that is part of this month's, growth opportunity in particular, and wherever this ends up taking you, because you're starting to dabble in it. I feel like you're giving yourself permission. I hope you're giving yourself permission to like dabble in it and to be paying enough attention to the signs and synchronicities that you don't let it pass you by. Because it feels like it might be one of those things too that is like an opportunity that's like, oh, here, like just like kind of rolling on by, like you got to catch that wave while it's here. And it doesn't mean that we could ever truly miss an opportunity. Like if it's not this way, then, a next one. So don't be hard on yourself. However, I feel like if you are being drawn to this at this time, there is a likelihood that this is something that you want to jump on now, That's what she said. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Okay, but yeah, this is beautiful energies. If this resonated for you today, please give this video a like. Let's see, what can we put down below? Oh yeah, if you chose this, leave a tree emoji in the comment section. And yeah, I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love, my friends.